Good day, everyone. I am Matt Harrison, and you are listening to the Geary Cast, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Gearys out there. For the second time this season, Malaga head north to Galicia to take on one of the big names of Segunda. They may have been down the well in the third tier with us last season, but they're well underway in the Segunda now after a comprehensive win away at Albacete last weekend. I'm, of course, talking about Deportivo La Coruna, a club that are aiming to switch from despair in Depor back to their Super Depor moniker of the mid-90s and early 2000s. And speaking of Super and being from the north, I am joined by my Northern Geary Cast co-host, Nick Bell. How are you?
Not too bad. Nice to see you again, Matt. Long time no see.
Long time no see. How are things since I last saw you?
Intense. There's been a lot of changes. Bought a new car. And obviously there's been a lot going down. All things Malaga as well.
Yeah, and I noticed that you've not changed since last time.
Well, it's coming winter now, and as you've alluded to, I'm in the north of England, and it's getting quite cold. So I have maybe 3 Malaga long sleeve tops I could wear, and this is just the comfiest one. So it's function over fashion, I'm afraid.
Looks like I haven't. I think I wore this shirt last time as well. It's almost as if we recorded the review show about 10 minutes ago. It looks like that, I can imagine, to tell people that's doing. But anyway, this is the preview show. So hello, if you are joining us from the review show. That wasn't much fun talking about Malaga lose 3-0, but we're going to get stuck in and looking forward to our game away at Depor. Just quickly, a quick bit of news. There's not a lot, but we should mention the main story coming out of Malaga this week, which also concerns the city as much as the football club, is the ongoing what's going to happen with La Rosaleda ahead of the 2030 World Cup, because I'm sure people that listen regularly or follow the news at Malaga Club de Football will be well aware that Malaga is a host city for that tournament. La Rosaleda will be used as a stadium in that tournament, but it does need to be renovated and made bigger. So it is going to go up to 45,000. That's what they're saying at the moment. Anyway, but of course, with construction work, that means a construction site and knocking little bits down and changing things. And you can't really have fans around to do that. So there has been talk that Malaga Club de Football and its fans might have to shift elsewhere for a short amount of time, maybe a season or so. And at the moment, Nick, that is looking like it could be, according to the mayor of Malaga, the athletic stadium on the edge of town, right next to the basketball arena, and actually not that far from Malaga's new Ciudad Deportiva. I don't know. Do you have any strong thoughts on this? It's sort of, it seems the only option to me.
Yeah, it seems the only option, but it's still not a great option. I don't know what the capacity is to the seat, but from what I've seen from the stand, it is just that. It is a stand. And considering that we've got an unprecedented demand, so they would say for season tickets, how are you going to squeeze 26,500 season ticket holders into one stand? The only alternative I can think of is doing something similar to what Riazor are doing. And obviously they've made a makeshift stadium, whether we can get some more stands in around that athletics track and make it home for a season. But logistically, it looks a bit of a nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah, I can tell you that as it stands, the athletic stadium holds in that one stand 7,500 fans. So yes, if they are going to do it, fortunately, there is quite a lot of space around that ground. And obviously there is a running track. I don't know if we can put stands on there, but yeah, if it's going to happen, there's no way to do it without having temporary stands. And obviously it's not a great look, but it's the sacrifice we'll have to make to have this new shiny stadium. I've actually been to a game of football in the Athletic Stadium already. Actually, I went to watch Atletico Malagueño play Loja there in the first year I lived in Spain, just because for some reason, I can't remember, there was some novelty reason that they were playing at that stadium. So I just went along and it was fine. I don't really much. Actually, I should really go back and look who played for Atletico Malagueño that day and see how many of them are in the first team now. Because the only one I really remember, because he scored twice, was Julio Martinez, who, soon went to Granada. And I think he's gone somewhere else now. I think he's maybe somewhere like Estepona. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure we saw him last season, actually. In Primera. In fact, it was for Recreativo Granada, if I remember rightly. So, it's an interesting one. Obviously, there is the scope to do it. Whether we do something, say, like what Real Madrid have done, but I imagine that we don't have the finances to be able to do that, where they've just built the stadium around it. I do not know. We're not blessed with an Olympic stadium like Barcelona seem to be. And I think to ask the fans to go to a ground share nearby, those kind of stadiums are the best part over an hour away. Whether it's a Granada or a Cordoba or, even down towards like La Linea or somewhere like that. It's just not going to work, is it?
We can't go into Cadiz country to support Malaga. That would be very much a taboo. But I honestly, I can't. This seems like the option for me. It's not ideal, but yeah, it sort of is what it is. And and it could happen soon if they're going to do it, because obviously the World Cup's in 2030, but I think to be eligible to be a host stadium, the stadium has to be ready by 2028, because obviously they do the trial in 2029 with the Confederations Cup. That sort of acts as a trial tournament. So yeah, it's, that's 4 years away. It has to be done in the next 4 years. So when I was thinking about, Zaragoza are really sort of keen to get this done, they've gone early. The more I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe we should be getting a move on too. But obviously it's not great, because obviously we've had this historical uptake of season tickets, and it's a bit of a shame to lose that momentum. But I'm pretty sure when the 2030-2031 seasons comes around and we're back in the Champions League, we'll have unprecedented season ticket sales in our Nueva La Rosaleda. Or would it be La Nueva La Rosaleda? Anyway, that's something I'm sure will be discussed over the next few months. And, we will keep you up to date on our social medias and podcasts, etc., when there are developments on the developments, I guess. Only one other tiny bit of news, really. It's actually a bit of an annoying one for me, really. But our game against Levante has been confirmed for the 4th of November, which irritatingly is on a Monday. The day I go back to work after a week off. So I was kind of hoping the game would be on a Saturday and I could spend a bit of time in Valencia, but that won't be the case now. And I know Luke Chambers, our fellow GearyCast co-host, was planning to do the same, and he can't go now. So hey ho, it's the cruelty of the Spanish fixture computer. And I've been to Levante before. It's not that interesting. It's fine, but so I won't lose too much sleep. I will find another Spanish football adventure to do that week. I don't know, Nick, do you want to make some, usual comment about Monday Night Football? Boo, boo, boo.
Monday Night Football, boo, 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 indeed. Trying to think it's got to be our first one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is actually. Yeah, we've obviously had a Friday one, but let's make a note of that when we lose to Levante on a Monday night, we've got our podcast episode. It can just be called Monday Night. Put it in the notes.
I like it.
Yeah, but that's weeks away. That's we're at the start of October. That's the start of November. But let's stay at the start of October and look forward to our game away at Deportivo La Coruna, a high-risk game, Nick. Seems, I don't know, it seems a bit strange to me. I know there's a bit of an edge between us and Depor, but we haven't played them in 5 years now. It seems a bit, I don't know, maybe the authorities know something more, I don't know, in regards of the ultra politics. I don't know, because there's only, I think, 500 tickets are for sale, and I've not seen 500 tickets for Malaga fans, of course. I mean, they're traveling fans. I've not seen a clamour for those tickets. Obviously, it's a very, very, very long way. So, I don't know. Do you think the high-risk game seems a bit OTT or?
Seems a bit daft. I understand the previous history, and I think that was more of a clamour to be the who's going to be the worst team that goes down. Who's going to be the biggest team to go down first? Seemed to be the agenda between the two sides. Like, who's got the most shit going on at the minute? But yeah, for me, this is going to be 500 tickets available. It would surprise me if we fill that out, given the nigh on 15-hour round trip, maybe even longer. That it would not even round trip there and back. It'd be 32 hours, wouldn't it? Yeah. And the lack of opportunity to get spare tickets in the stadium, as we well know, we were just talking about how well supported Malaga were this season with their season ticket sales and their consistent around 25 to 30k attendance. Deportivo La Coruna doing exactly the same thing in their bigger stadium. So I don't think you'll see many Malaga shirts dotted around the Riazor.
No, and of course we've got 2 high-risk games in a row, because obviously we have Cadiz the week later, and there is a bit of an edge to that game as well. I think that one I think we always knew that one was going to be high risk, and again, I don't think there's going to be many blue and white shirts in the home end of that game, and I think they might be a bit down.
There'll be loads of blue and white shirts in the home end.
No, I mean the Cadiz game.
All right, sorry, I thought you meant the Depor game.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I see what you mean with the Depor one. But anyway, obviously, we'll talk about that game shortly. It is a high-risk game. I think, Nick, for our analysis, our expert analysis, we should go low risk and go someone that we can trust and trust their views and know, there's no risk here. He's going to be nice and safe with his opinions, and he'll tell it well. And of course, that person is Alex Fitzpatrick of the Spanish Segunda show. So here is Alex with his lowdown on our opponents, Deportivo La Coruna.
On Sunday lunchtime, Malaga take on Deportivo La Coruna in Riazor, one of the iconic stadiums in Segunda this season, and 2 of the iconic clubs meeting from the Segunda Division this season. Iconic clubs from Spanish football, both who are used to, of course, being in the top tier for the majority of their glory days. Riazor has not been a fortress for Depor this season. They've had a pretty slow start overall in the season, and especially at home, where they've won just 1 of their games, and that was against Racing Club de Ferrol by 1-0. And Racing Club de Ferrol currently sit in the bottom 4 with a pretty poor start to the season from them. So what I would say is that Depor's style probably suits a little bit more to playing away from home, because they've got a lot of pace and trickery on the break with their 2 wingers, David Milla and Yermay, who play on the wings in that 4-4-2 shape that they play. Lucas Perez up front with generally with Barbero at the moment. And another name that you might remember is Soriano. He was playing for Eibar last season, just behind the front man. He's been in and out of the team for Depor, but some real quality in attack for them. But as I said, they haven't quite got it going at home, and perhaps their style and the characteristics of some of those players that I just mentioned suits to them to be a team that's better playing away from home, where they can play on the break with that pace and that quality. That's Sunday lunchtime. Malaga traveling to Riazor to take on Deportivo La Coruna.
And as always, thank you to Alex Fitzpatrick for that analysis. And if you want more analysis, not just about Malaga, but about the other 21 clubs in the Segunda División, go and listen to the Spanish Segunda show, where they'll have everything covered for you. Depo, Nick, what did you think of what Alex had to tell us there?
Yeah, well, it's the prestige of it probably that gets me. Two massive clubs with big histories, and I just had a quick look, and you might be able to correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure the only two teams in this league that have played Champions League football. I think Real Zaragoza got to the UEFA Cup back in the early 2000s. I know Granada were in Europe the season before last, but Champions League, I'm pretty sure it's just these two sides.
I thought Zaragoza might have got there one year, but I'm sure
that was the one I had to double check.
I feel like they. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's only us two and Zaragoza if it comes down. I'm sorry, us two if anything, but maybe Zaragoza. I'm just saying, making sure I say Zaragoza just in case Liam from the Spanish Segunda show listens and is shouting, going, "No, we did too." But
I remember they went around that time when they signed Pablo Aimar from Valencia, and I think they ran close. I don't want to doubt myself now. Spanish football history is not as good as everybody else's, but I'm pretty sure they were in the UEFA Cup.
I did a quick Google. I think, yeah, it does. I think you may be right. They were just a Europa League team. I think. We got that wrong, but yeah, you threw that at me. Yeah, we are the glamour clubs. The prestige of the league, even though they're near relegation and we're mid-table at the moment. But to be honest with you, from what Alex said there, and from what I've picked up about Depo myself, is they sound a bit like us.
Yeah, they're finding their feet. This is they were down the well a lot longer than we were, out there in, Spanish football obscurity, and being that club as well, I think takes its toll sometimes on a team. When you're as big as they were, and they were the biggest fish in that particular pond for a very long time, they will just be happy to be back. And they, like you said, Matt, similar to us, so focused will be on survival. They're not a team that is, dripping with cash. They utilize a lot of youth players from their cantera like we do. There's a lot more similarities between the clubs now, just like there was a few years ago when I said before that we were all in the shit together. So, it's, should make for a good game. Like I say, there's a bit of rivalry, but to be honest now, I think there's also a bit of mutual respect.
Yeah, it's but also in regards of, like, they're a bit like us, the sort of, we've built, initially, obviously we've had injuries, but we'd sort of built a team around going down the wings with speed and being a little bit more counter-attacky, obviously, like losing people like Kevin to injury and, a few others going in and out of the team on the wing. Perhaps we've lost that. But yeah, I will say, I spent a lot of time in the north of Spain this summer, and, especially in Galicia. And I think if you've not been to Galicia, first of all, go to Galicia. It's a stunning part of Spain and very different to other parts of Spain. But like, even when I was in Ponferrada, like, there was always like a Depo bar there and stuff. They are huge up there. And I was going to add I did see a lot of Depo shirts, and I did see quite a few with Jeremy on the back. He does seem to be the boy up there, the one that they really like. Of course, as well as I think I might have seen a couple more Lucas Perez shirts, and I guess we should mention for maybe those that don't follow Spanish football so closely, that it was about, I think it's 2 seasons ago now, where Lucas Perez, who some might remember from playing for Arsenal and West Ham back home, but has played around quite a few clubs now. He is a local to A Coruna. He played for them before. He got sold to Arsenal, sort of didn't really want to leave, went through a tour of clubs, ended up with Cadiz, was scoring a few goals for Cadiz down, up in the top league, and just went to the owners of Cadiz and said, I want to go home. I want to go to Depo. And so much so, he bought his contract out so he could sign with Depo. And, his dream, I think it was in January as well, So his dream was to finish that season with Depo and get them promoted. And, they failed that time, as they did a few times. But then, yeah, he was, one of the heroes that got them back to the Segunda. So that's a nice feel-good story in this sort of age of players chasing contracts and stuff. And, a lad like, he wasn't that old when he went back to Depo either. I think, don't hold me to it, but I think he was 30 or certainly around 30 that he went back. So, much respect to Lucas Perez. Hopefully, he's not the homeboy hero this coming weekend. Speaking of sort of homes, Nick, there is a player that interests both of us in the Depo line, the Depo squad list at least, who made his first appearance with the club last week.
Yes, the one and only Charlie Patino. In this day and age when I was sort of thinking back to this, and it used to be such a rarity that you'd see English or British players going abroad. And now we're in a place where we've got Charlie Patino playing for Deportivo La Coruna. We've got Jude Bellingham, obviously, at Real Madrid. You look at the AC Milan side, I think they had 3 English players playing in the side in the last Champions League game. So it's much more refreshing to see. But the Patino story is really cool, obviously, because he both played for Blackpool and Swansea on loan in the Championship. But his dad worked in A Coruña, didn't he? And he was actually a massive fan of the club during the time he was there, and was a season ticket holder and things like that. And it's a bit of a homecoming for him, because Charlie was also sort of like indoctrinated into supporting Depo. So, I think his career hasn't stalled. His career is very much still at its beginning, but given the opportunity that he had, he could either sit on the bench at Arsenal or go and pursue a career in Spanish football. It's a bold decision, but one I think he'll thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, he didn't have a great time of it at Swansea. Not maybe because of his performances, but he had managers. Well, he had Mike Duff at the start, who really just was quite defensive and didn't really want to play him. And then, it never quite clicked with him and Luke Williams when he became manager. And Swansea fans quite liked him and thought he should have been given more of a chance. So, after this game, I really hope he does well, especially with like the story you said with his dad. And, you said it's becoming rare, it's becoming more common for British footballers to play abroad, but it's still fun when you see it as well. Like, I'm absolutely loving Ollie McBurney down in Las Palmas at the moment.
Yeah, him and Scott McKenna doing their thing. And I think as well for Patino's style of play, again, you probably didn't see him as much as I did when he was at Blackpool, but being such a technically gifted centre midfielder, playing in the Championship and League One can be quite brutal when you are that way inclined. Give him the chance in the Premier League, I think he actually probably would have thrived a little bit more. But in Spain, where this is the normal, then I think he can be a really good player. And especially, like you say, when he's got Lucas Perez around him. Idiakas is a player who's not afraid, or a manager, should I say, not afraid to play young talent in there as well. So I think as I said before, he's one I'm keeping my eye on as well. And he don't look great in a Kappa kit.
Yeah. He's a handsome young man. We'll say that. As well, I guess this is, we were talking about football grounds earlier, and I think Alex did describe it as like an iconic stadium in the league in his bit. But I'm really gutted I'm not going to Riazor this season. If it'd been on a Saturday, I might have braved it because I could have probably got back for work. But Sunday, I did even look at flights like Sunday night. I think there might have been one, but they were crazy expensive. So, hopefully, I was going to say, hopefully we're in the same league next year. Hopefully we both go up to La Liga and I can go and visit Depo then, especially because, like I said, I've been to Galicia quite a lot over the last few years, but I've still not been to A Coruña. It's probably the missing link in my Galician map, I guess. And
It's such an iconic ground as well, isn't it? For not just obviously the history that it has there, you know, with the players that they used to have, the likes of Valeron, even going back to it voids my mind with that spine that they had with Rivaldo and people like that. It was just.
Well, I think I mentioned it on a recent GearyCast podcast, but a couple of weeks ago I watched the Jalminia documentary, which is on Movistar, and it's about an hour long, and it's sort of about his time at Depor, and it's him going back there now, and they bring him on the pitch, but it's all interspersed with, like, you know, the Super Depor team and winning the league. And yeah, I did sort of. I know there is this sort of beef between Depor and Malaga these days, but, you know, when I was a kid growing up, that Depor team was ultra cool. It was, in a way, it was the sort of the hipstery choice to the people that didn't want to like Barcelona and Real Madrid, because, like, I'd say a lot of my friends, and I don't know if it's the same for you, like, the sort of hipster choice was Valencia. But if you were even cooler, you liked Deportivo. That's how I always like.
I think that it was that era, wasn't it, where, like you say, Rafa Benitez had just won the league with Valencia, and obviously they had, you know, a great talent and a brilliant Nike kit as well. That one with the Valencia badge in the middle. But Depor, even back then with the Kappa kit, you know, that's how sort of great they were. And you know, if you sort of went into your 90s football and really put in Galicia as a footballing part of the nation, it was always considered a bit of a backwater before that, wasn't it? So, you know, making them the forefront of Spanish football for such a decent period of time as well. We're not talking just like a flash in the pan. It was a good decade where they were at prominence.
Well, they almost won the top league in, I can't remember the exact year, but the mid-90s, and they literally, what's his name, Miroslav Jukic misses a last-minute penalty, and if he'd scored it, they would have won the league. And then they think, well, that's their chance. And then I think they win it. I'm going to say 2000. I can't remember. It's very close to 2000. Actually, that might be Valencia. No, Valencia's that. Anyway, I'm just sort of going through a Wikipedia page in my head here. I can't find the answer quick enough. You know, we can say nice things about Depor over the past. In the past, though, Malaga do not have a good record at Riazor. We have 2 wins there, 4 draws and 14 losses. But I should add, the last time we went there was one of those 2 wins. Quiz question, Nick. We won 2-0. And I remember watching this game in the tavern. Can you remember who scored for Malaga? If you get one of these, I'll be astonished.
Oh, God. We're going back. Right, let me just bend the clock back a few years. I'm going to go with Sadiku. Did he manage to bag?
You've got one. That's the I can picture the goals as well, because the Sadiku one, the goalie comes out and it goes over his head or something, and Sadiku just rolls it in. Yeah.
And you've already kind of alluded to the other one being quite niche and unique. So
you can hear me. You can hear me typing now. That's because I can't remember his first name.
Oh God. Wasn't well. I know his first name for this one, so I was going to go with Lomban, but
I'll give you a bit of a clue. He was a defender. Sometimes I think a bit more of a left back.
Oh God,
Mikel someone, but that might throw you as well, because
that is throwing me. To be fair, no, you're gonna have to put me out of my misery here, Matt.
He is former Venezuelan international Mikel Villanueva.
No. Whoosh. Nope.
Yeah. He played quite a bit that season. I think he played left back quite a lot. But yeah, I can still picture the goal. I can remember watching that game because it was when we were like absolutely shambolic, and actually Depor hadn't quite sunk to our level yet. They dipped the second half of that season, but it was like a miracle that we I think we won 2-0 there, but they sort of really put us under the cosh. And then we beat them at La Rosaleda as well. We did the double over them that season. So, and amazingly, that's the last times we played them, which feels a very long time ago. But I guess they have been down there a very long time. And actually, we keep saying there's this rivalry between Malaga and Depor. Even I got a bit indoctrinated. I found myself really disliking that Depor team. I think I got caught up in it all as well. But I don't know. Do you want to say anything more on Depor before we move to Malaga? Do you want to say some more Depor player names? That was fun.
Yeah, I'm not to say it could be a podcast as well. To be fair,
Valeron.
which could be quite nice. I do know. I'm sure this is right as well. They were the first Spanish team to ever play a team full of foreigners in
Oh,
La Liga. I'm sure that is a fact.
that would make
Again,
sense. They
someone
had
needs to fact check me, but I think in the 90s that was true.
yeah, because it would have had to be 96, 97, because that's when the Bosman rule came in. So yeah, they signed a load of Brazilians. So I think I'd sort of back you on that. I'm even going through that team late 90s. There are a lot of foreigners in that team, actually. And I think actually Gary Neville on one of his many podcasts quite recently said one of the most difficult player he ever played against, when he obviously playing right back, was Ferran on the left for Depor. He was fun. Valeron was my favourite apart from Chelsea. Anyway,
any day of the week.
We don't have these sort of names to call upon at Malaga at the moment. We have some very likable footballers and some very talented young footballers, but they're not quite there. So let's talk about those, because I guess after what happened last weekend, Malaga we don't have to make changes, but we will make changes. What would you be looking to chop and change, Nick?
I think we mentioned earlier in the week when we spoke about this, Matt. I think we've got to rotate those centre backs a little bit more. I probably would persevere with Monte, to be honest, and maybe bring in Alex Pastor to give him another opportunity. I think he's maybe been punished enough, to say the least. Same with Dani Sanchez as well. We've got Victor Garcia back. We know Victor Garcia is a quality left back. He's just had a rough start to the season, but again, just rotate that around a bit. I think the most important thing for us is going to be that left back and right back positions, because they've got two wingers, two local boys as well, or one local, one who's been with the Cantera for a while. Puga and Victor, I imagine, will be very busy on Sunday afternoon. And then Perez, we've mentioned him, obviously old in the legs, but young in the head, I reckon. Luismi just needs to sit on him in this game. If Luismi starts, again, we didn't mention him, but he didn't light up the game against Elche either. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he responds in this game, considering he's had such a great start to his Malaga career.
Yeah, actually, we didn't. Just to go back to that podcast we recorded all those days ago. I think Manu is actually quite good in midfield in that game. He sort of was trying to hold things together a bit. Yeah, it wasn't Luismi's best game. I have got written down 4 headlines for my changes, and you've touched upon 2 of them. I've just written Dani Sanchez out. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I was not fully, I wasn't 100% sure if Victor Garcia was back, so that's that sorted. I did write down, put Joaquin there. I would rather Joaquin play there than Dani Sanchez play another game there. I just think he's at his go now. I like Dani Sanchez, but it's bad. It's not working. So if Victor's not fully fit, I would rather Puga or Joaquin, and one of them play right back. I don't care who. I've also got the same as you put. I really like Alex Pastor. I think I joked the other day where I say, and I don't know why I like him. He's a bit bonkers, and I realized there's the touch of the Chico Flores is about him. So I'd love, I'd like him to start every game, but as long as he's not being mad all the time. But yeah, after I'd bring him in. I've put a question mark next to this one because I don't know enough about his fitness, but I did put Lobete for Ramani ? If he's
I agree with you on that one. I think if he's back up to full fitness now, and again, it was good to see him come back into the fold quicker than we expected. I think Ramani needs reminding that he's not necessarily first name on the team sheet. We have invested in other wingers, and he was signed as a reaction to that potential injury. But if he's back, I was impressed with what I saw of Lobete. So he's a good option to put up there, and I think we'll need it. But yeah, I can definitely see that.
And here's my headline. I've left this one to last. I think you might have an idea where I'm going with this. I think it's not working. None of them have really worked up there. Chupete up front. Why not?
Wow.
He's scoring goals. I don't see the only reason I would doubt doing this, and I don't know, maybe it's better, is the fact that it's not at La Rosaleda, but anything, it might be a bit less pressure on him. Like, I keep thinking this guy just banging in the goals. Obviously, it is at how many divisions below? Are we two divisions below where we are? Three divisions below. Ooh. But I don't know. Like, I know we've given Dione some praise, but Rocco's not working. Castell, we keep getting told is not fit enough, and I do quite like him as a sub, actually. The other thing I'd maybe consider is maybe Dione going back in that role behind and Chupete up front. I think he's earned his chance personally, and I think it'd be a nice sort of shock tactic. I would pick him.
It would definitely be surprising. I think this game in this stadium with that crowd for a lad so young, but we've seen Antonito's risen to the stage. I don't know, Tromeloni's doing it, so it's not impossible. I would just like to see from Pacer just a bit of a shake of the Etch-a-Sketch and just change things around. And we keep saying it, 4-4 to it with Dione Castell, Dione Chupete, Castell Chupete. I think Rocco is just right off. But
this is where I was saying, like, perhaps Dione coming in for maybe Aaron, because obviously we're not going to have Aaron Ochoa Maloney next weekend anyway. He's played quite a lot of football recently, and I do quite like the 4-4-2 idea. I think Antonito's is too good to drop, or is too dangerous to drop, and we're not going to have him next weekend. I don't know. Just for me, like Chupete, like he got put in the first team squad. He, obviously came off the bench, didn't really get a chance, and then he's put back in the B team, and he's like, "Well, here you go. I'll score some more goals. Look at me again." I feel like.
But we've been here before, and this is the only thing that scares me. We were here with Loren Zuniga, and look what happened there. And there's a joy to Chupete doing his thing in Malagueño this season, and the success they're having. I suppose the big thing will be is what Pacer does with the midfield, because this is where the battle's going to be in this game. They've got the likes of Villares, who's a very competent midfielder, Umfulu, who we've come up against before, who is at Las Palmas. So if we win the battle there, depending whether we have 2 or 3 in there, we'll probably decide the outcome of the game. It's just goals are hard to come by. So I agree that we need someone up there who is scoring lots of goals, maybe just to encourage the other ones to follow suit a little bit. I don't know, but it'd be a bold choice. But you did say Aaron Ochoa Maloney should start against Huesca, and he did.
Yeah, no, I think it was the game before. It was the Albacete. I did. But that was more. I had a feeling there that he was coming in. This one, I'm not so sure about. It's more my personal opinion this time. With Aaron Ochoa Maloney, that was partly my personal opinion, but I don't know, the way Pacer was talking, I thought he would. Just quickly, just to go back to Depor, because I thought we didn't really perhaps highlight this enough, because you were talking about goals then. Obviously, I sort of mentioned in the intro, they have just beaten Albacete 5-2 at Albacete. And it's really weird, actually, because before that, as Alex Fitzpatrick said in his spiel on Depor, they'd only won one game, which was a 1-0 against Ferrol. But also, they'd only scored 3 goals all season, and they were all like 1 goal in a game. They'd never scored more than 1 goal in a game. So it's really bizarre that they scored 5 all of a sudden. So they're not, if we took that Albacete game out of the equation, we would be talking here saying they don't score many goals. But so
I think they suffer the same thing that we've got, and that is they've got good wingers who can score goals when they get the opportunity to do so, but they haven't got the most talented of strike forces. Like, say, Perez, who, will recognise from his time as Arsenal and West Ham and Cadiz and places like that as a striker. He's kind of done that Wayne Rooney thing at an age where he's just dropped back into midfield. And even Barbero, I think the other one is Herrera, who used to be at Las Palmas as well. Lots of Las Palmas players at this game, either from or played for. They're just there isn't somebody prolific in there. Do you know what I mean? There is not someone who you think is definitely going to score 20 goals in a season for them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting test for us. Obviously, we're coming off a bad result ourselves after a good start. I don't know. I think I was listening to the Spanish Segunda show, and I think Liam made a fair point actually, saying that our start to the season, there is no easy start to the league in this season, but we'd had perhaps a gentler start to the season than some clubs. Do you think our start of the season was perhaps like a false one? Or because obviously we've got, I'll just read our next few fixtures. We've got Depor away, Cadiz away. Of course, they've not been great. Oviedo at home. At our home, which again, they've had a good start. Tenerife away, not good. And then Eibar and Levante, who obviously are going to be tough. So I don't know. Do you think we're about to step into the dark woods of Segunda?
I don't really prescribe to that theory because we're any start would have been a hard start for us. We're coming up from a league which is, semi-professional, and with a semi-professional squad, so to speak. Again, we've not gone out and signed player after player who's played at Segunda level for donkey's years. We can only really say that of Luismi and maybe Rocco Batorino, but
we've also signed 2 players that have just been relegated from Segunda. So
exactly. So the depth, the gap between them and us was always going to be massive, and it's the same for Depor as well. Like you say, we trade on names really because we are the Malagas and the Depors and things like that of the world, but no one's having that same conversation about Cordoba or Castellón. You know what I mean? Like Castellón are doing quite well at the minute. Cordoba have had a tough start to the season as well, but they were like, oh well, it's the plucky 2 that are going up against it and doing their thing, and sticking a middle finger up to the Segunda bourgeoisie. And we're like, oh well, Malaga have had it easy because they've played fucking Huesca. It's like, well, no, this is a team that have been in Segunda for ages and things like that.
Is this like that Mitchell and Webb meme where they're the Nazis and they say, "Are we the baddies? Are we the bourgeoisie?"
I think we're being classed as that purely because of who we are. But we've got to remember, we didn't win the league last year. Depor and Castellón did. And we've come up as the startups essentially. And if Ceuta had taken our place, for example, would people have said the same thing about Ceuta and saying, oh, well, they've had a bit of an easy start to the season? Would they bugger it?
I would have happy to have seen Ceuta gone up. Just quickly, I forgot about this. I only read this yesterday. Do you know, obviously the Copa del Rey draw is coming up next week, I think. Do you know Depor have got to buy all the way through to when Barcelona and Real Madrid come in?
Really?
Yeah, because obviously the Copa del Rey is a RFEF competition, and they're the champions of the Primera Federación because obviously they beat Castellón in that final. So it's Barcelona, Real Madrid, who else? Athletic Club, and whoever else is in the Super Cup competition in Saudi Arabia, and Deportivo get buys.
Oh, was it Osasuna? Yeah, it was Osasuna Latina, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it is Osasuna actually, because they came second in the cup, which I thought, I don't know, it's funny, like a 3rd division club sort of skips over, I don't know, I can't remember who won the Segunda now off the top of my head, but it's like, oh, it seems quite funny. I think I've understood that right. Anyway, I read
it's a good incentive though for winning the league, isn't it? In terms of not going through the playoffs and things like that. But Castellón must be bloody kicking themselves. They didn't do that.
Yeah, but there you go. Right, I think we're done, Pure Nick. We've had a busy week of recording. Is there anything? Again, I think we were undecided. There might be a live stream Sunday.
Yeah, again, just thinking with the kickoff time. I know that some members of the Giri cast are keen. but we shall put an announcement out there as soon as we know. And it'd be great for you to come and join us. I think the issue that we have with live streams at the minute is that Elon Musk has been a wrong and he's made it that you can't broadcast to your largest audience without paying an extortionate amount of money to do so. So we're just trying to navigate our way around that at the minute. But as soon as we do, we'll be back into a regular flow.
Yes, and so there might be a live stream. There is definitely a review show if you want to go back and listen to about our last game, which definitely wasn't recorded earlier this evening and was recorded earlier in the week. And I don't think there's much else to say. Just follow us on the socials, etc. So I will say once again, Nick Bell, for the second time this week, thank you.
Gracias, amigo. Vamos Malaga, as always.
Vamos Malaga, as always. And I'll say thank you guys for listening. Go and follow us on the socials, as I said. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a hello on the socials and say, hey, your content's quite fun if you think it's fun. And actually, go and leave a review on the on all the podcast providers, because I think that helps us too. I keep getting told. So go and do that. Give us 5 stars, of course. Don't be a dick. That's a good bit of advice. Don't be a dick. And with those eloquent words, I will say adios. Don't be a dick. Vamos Malaga.